Without further ado, we're going to set this Soul Food Sabbath day off. Want to catch us up, anybody? Where we at right now? In scripture, in the book.
Just got to a new chapter.
All right.
Just
Let's share
finish
out.
milking bit.
All right. Yeshayahu. Yeshayahu. All right, so
Or,
we got to come again, dude.
I was gonna say, or Isaiah for Americans.
I want to get that Yeshayahu. English speakers, got it. All right. We have 31 of these things. That means two people's gonna get 10, one's gonna get 11 of those things. Which order you guys feel comfortable going in? Talk to me. All right. Big.
I mean, what do you choose?
I'm good whichever way. I just want to read the words and listen to it.
I mean, I always go first.
Let's do it. Yeah, that means I'm in the middle. Read in the middle. Never gets old.
So how many was the numbers?
It's 10, 10, 11.
Alright. The vision of Yeshayahu, son of Amoz, which he saw concerning Yehuda and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziyahu, Yotham, Ahaz, Hizkiyahu, sovereigns of Yehuda. Hear, O heavens, and listen, O earth, for Yahweh has spoken. I have reared and brought up children, but they have transgressed against me. An ox knows its owner, and a donkey its master's crib. Israel does not know, my people have not understood. Alas, sinning nation, a people loaded with crookedness, a seed of evildoers, sons acting corruptly. They have forsaken Yahweh. They have provoked the set apart one of Israel. They went backward. Why should you be stricken any more? You continue in apostasy. All the head is sick, and all the heart faints. From the sole of the foot to the head, there is no soundness in it. Wounds and bruises and open sores. They have not been closed or bound up or soothed with ointment. Your land is laid waste. Your cities are burned with fire. Strangers devour your land in your presence, and it is laid waste as overthrown by strangers. And the daughter of Sion is left as a booth in a vineyard, as a hut in a garden of cucumbers, as a besieged city. Unless Yahweh of hosts had left us to a small remnant, we would have become like Sodom. We would have been made like Amorah. Hear the word of Yahweh, you rulers of Sodom. Give ear to the Torah of our Elohim, you people of Amorah. Of what use to me are your many slaughterings, declares Yahweh. I have had enough of ascending offerings of rams and the fat of fed beasts. I do not delight in the blood of bulls or of lambs or goats.
When you come to appear before me, who has required this from your hand? To trample my courtyards. Stop bringing futile offerings, incense, and it's an abomination to me. New moons, Sabbath, the calling of gatherings. I'm unable to bear unrighteousness and assembly. My being hates your new moons and your appointed times. They are a trouble to me. I am wherever being bearing them. And when you spread out your hands, I hide my eyes from you. Even though you make many prayers, I do not hear. Your hands have become filled with blood. Wash yourselves. Make yourself clean. Put away the evils of your doing from before my eyes. Stop doing evil. Learn to do good. Seek right rulings. Reprove the oppressor. Defend the fatherless. Plead for the widow. Come now, and let us reason together, says Yahweh. Though you sin like scarlets, they shall be white as snow. Though you ragged like crimson, they shall be as wool. If you submit and obey, you shall eat the good of the land. If you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured by the sword, for the mouth of Yahweh has spoken.
You got one more.
That was 10:10.
Yeah, Dave, you're
Yeah.
at 11.
Right, but then that will take away from your 10, right? I mean, your 11?
No, 11 plus 10 is 21.
Okay. How the steadfast cities have come a whore. I have filled it with right rulings, righteousness lodging in it, but now murderers.
Your silver has become dross. Your wine is mixed with water. Your rulers are stubborn and companions of thieves. Everyone loves bribes, runs after rewards. They do not defend the fatherless, nor does the cause of the widow reach them. Therefore the Master declares, Yahweh of hosts, the mighty one of Israel. Ah, I shall be eased of my adversaries, and I shall be avenged of my enemies. And I shall turn my hand against you, and I shall refine your dross as with as with lye, and shall remove all your alloy. And I shall give back your judges as at the first, and your counselors as at the beginning. After this, you shall be called the city of righteousness, a steadfast city. Sion shall be ransomed with right ruling, and her returning with the righteousness. The destruction of transgressors and of sinners is together, for, and those who forsake Yahweh shall be consumed. For they shall be ashamed of the terebinth trees which you have desired. You shall be embarrassed because of the gardens which you have chosen. You shall be as terebinth whose leaves fade, and as a garden that has no water. The strong shall be for tow, and his work for a spark, and both shall burn together, with no one to distinguish.
Wow. Big.
We'll have to soak that one in. That was some pressure.
Feels you, sir. Shoot.
Sounds like Yahweh had enough.
Mm.
Why do you keep going back to the evil?
Mm.
Just stop.
Because somebody in the crowd is loud enough to sing on a bullhorn. Evil. Say it with me now. Evil is good. It's what it is. You hit it right on the nose. It sounds like a breakup. Like, I'm over these. I'm over you. Like, how can you have, you blessed with I gave you land. Nations are looking up to you. And this is what you do. You go with all the weirdness, all the whoremongering, all the divinations, the stuff that they're still doing now. And they're acting, that's the part I love when they say, okay, well, why don't you, God, come out and do something? He ain't gonna do it for you. Right? Like, you're not even attempting to live in a way that is not an abomination to him. Why would he listen to you? Remember that In the beginning, we was using that analogy. We was using that that image of. Can you imagine the most beautiful person being that you can be by your side, but they stink like a landfill,
Mm.
putrid, stinky. I mean, like next to them, it just repulses you to where you just want to throw up. So this is where we at this stage. Like y'all just gave me wretchedness, kings after kings. Like I'm not even trying to come close.
Yeah.
And mind you, this is on the eve of that. It's like, you know what, guys? Yeah, you about to get it, guys. There's reward and there's punishment for our decisions. Because remember, we all gotta consent. Leadership gotta consent down to the lowest man. If they keep telling you to choose the worst or the least of two evils, you're still choosing evil. And these
Yeah.
people were doing evil, continue. They were going back. His promised people, his chosen people, excuse me, acting a fool, doing what they did. Okay, so you forget the pains you suffered in Mistram, but you want to remember all the gods and the pagan holidays and all that, new moons. You want to remember that? But you forget all the pain. What are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Walk in my ways. This is the way to your liberation. You're going to be forever oppressed if you continue to live this way until you extinguish out. You're going to be a boy for the rest of your life. And that's not cool. All right. All right, y'all. On to the next one. Oh, we got 22 in this. So two people have seven, one person will have eight.
Uh,
Shoot, since we took it from you, you want the eight?
Yeah, I'll take the 8.
Okay.
uh, the word that Yeshayahu, the son of Amat, saw concerning Yehuda and Jerusalem, and it shall be in the latter days that the mountain of the house of Yahweh is established on the top of the mountains, it shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. And many people shall come and say, Come, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the Elohim of Jacob, and let him teach us his ways, and let us walk in his paths. For out of Sion comes forth the Torah, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. And he shall judge between the nations, and shall reprove many peoples, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nations, neither teach battle any more. O house of Jacob, come and let us walk in the light of Yahweh. For you have forsaken your people, the house of Jacob, because they have been filled from the east, and practice magic like the Philistines. And they are pleased with the children of foreigners. And their land is filled with silver and gold, and there is no end to their treasures. And their land is filled with horses, and there is no end to their chariots.
And their land is filled with idols. They bow themselves to the work of their own hands, to what their own fingers have made. And the lowly bows down, and the high is humbled. Therefore, you do not forgive them. Enter into the rock and hide into the dust because of the fear of Yahweh and splendor of his excellency. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the pride of men shall be bowed down, and Yahweh alone shall be exalted in that day. For Yahweh hosts for Yahweh of hosts has a day against all that is proud and lofty, against all that is lifted up, so that is brought low, and against all the cedars of Lebanon that are high and lifted up, and against all the oaks of Bashan, and against all the high mountains, and against all the hills that are lifted up.
and against every lofty tower, and against every strong wall, and against all the ships of Tarshish, and against all the desirable craft, and against and all the loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the pride of men shall be brought low, and Yahweh alone shall be exalted in that day, when the idols completely pass away. And they shall go into the holes of the rocks, and into the caves of the earth, from dread of Yahweh, and the splendor of his excellency, when he arises to shake the earth mightily. In that day man shall throw away his idols of silver, and his idols of gold, which they made for each himself to worship, to the moles and bats, to go into the clefts of the rocks, and into the crags of the rugged rocks, because of the fear of Yahweh and the splendor of his excellency, when he arises to shake the earth mightily. Cease from man, whose breath is in his nostrils, for in what is he to be reckoned upon?
There.
Soaking that one in.
Yeah, me too.
So what I've decoded or what I've took from it is that Elishiahu is getting a piece of revelation. He's being revealed. He's part of that remnant. And they're talking about the latter days. If you talk about the Yeshayahu or Isaiah, the second second chapter, second verse. And it shall be in the latter days that the mountains of the house of Yahweh is established on the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. Like they're talking of a, a revelation point where he ascends down. He decides this is where he's going to put his footstool, and he's going to be at the pinnacle, the top of it all. And it's a breakdown now of how every nation, you're going to have to hide under a rock. You can't even hide under rocks. You will be humbled as a man just by his glory and his excellency, meaning how perfect of a being he is. He's talking about, like, guys, you made, with all due respect, I can't knock your grandmother. Mima, I went to church. But you made that cross. It didn't come from the Most High.
Yeah.
The Most High took 2 tablets and wrote on it. And Moshe threw 2. So he did 4. Moshe got mad and threw 2. He went back and made another 2. I am not understanding why we're not having like little tablet images or whatever, if you're going to worship anything at all.
Yeah.
Those are the commandments, right? If you're going to, logically speaking, our Heavenly Father is logical. Logically speaking, why would you make something and then worship what you made? I made a fish. I made a salmon dinner, right? How bad can you mess up salmon, right? But for me to say, ooh, the best salmon ever, I think I should worship the salmon dinner and not eat anymore. I'm going to be fortunate for the rest of my life. What are you talking about? And these are these people. Churchianity. These are the people in the church that look at you like you're crazy. Yo, turn around and say, you don't know the Bible. And I'm like, find it. Then when you say find it, they be like, well, brother
It's
North,
right here in my hand. What are you talking about?
why you gotta be so hostile?
I'm
That's when they come with you with that. Why you gotta be so
like, dang, you
hostile?
don't gotta be rude.
You don't gotta be real, right? Like, you don't have to be rude. You know, a lot of people come. You think you know everything? No, I don't. It's in the book. I don't have to know it's here. I have to know how to get to it though. And that's why I'm like, I can't argue with everyone because this separates kings, priestly kings, and priests from everybody else. This is why
Yeah.
you couldn't, as a slave, read this. Because guess what? We enslaved you to get away from it. That's what it was about. They talk about Africans and blah, blah, blah. Please stop. Most of the people here was pushed down from wars that people just continue to perpetuate. That's like us coming over here and taking over DR for generations, maybe even 150 years, right? Or 700 years. And the people of that place is like, yo, we're strong enough to get them out of here. And they take all of our generations, all of our descendants, and exile them. And those that can exile, they converted to this Christianity, this version of Christianity. Like they came through and they took over. But it's like that's how they're gonna do. Yeshua was betrayed. And he knew it was gonna happen because he knew, man, one of you 12 is gonna get me. And you're my closest.
And he told everybody. Like
Everybody,
the one
like,
I
yeah.
dipped the bread for. And then he dipped the bread.
So when you're on, things start to connect. And I'm starting to notice it. It's crazy because even Uncle Jonesy is saying it. But now he's going into seeking his own understanding versus seeking the understanding or seeking the word of the Most High. So yeah, Yeshua got the revelation. So he already know I'm good. People like this already have their superpower up. Their armor is on the highest level. That's why they're in the book. So the highest and exalted of Satanayu's army, right? I mean, what can you say? And I'm so sorry to do this to this man. I don't want to add on misery, but I'm happy he was here. Mr. Bill Cosby, William H. Cosby. I can't say you could sell your soul. I know you can give way. I'm studying that where you let another entity take over and you're just in the background, like you're sleeping. Some two don't know what happened. I know that can happen. Right? Like people be like, yeah, I was in a drunken stupor. People come out and be like, yeah, I didn't know what I did. I was in a rage. Something's taking over. So, with that being said, you got these beings going against the highest. We're supposed to be the highest of the highs, the chosen people. And you got these beings invading us, the one out of the 12. Changing our minds. And we're allowing it. We're not defending it. So, what's the highest that the highest Luciferian could get? right? Literally butthurt because they believe in pansexualism. Literally, right? You could probably get an STD, literally. Look at Cosby, going back to him. He lost his only son early. There's no win in that. Giving it away, giving your vessel away, and thinking you're going to be held high. And then they're going to ruin his legacy. And this is where they told us we could, that and that in sports was the way they told us we could find our security in Babylon. But they're letting us know you could just rip you apart. So, what's the point of going through all of that?
Mm.
And I'm not saying for you to be a poor, righteous teacher. I don't think it can happen to us. Money called me today talking about take me. Right? Money called me yesterday. I got to send y'all a picture of my man just leaving me $100 US. And it's no big deal, but it's just like, it's letting me know, even if I don't want the money, I'm going to have to take the money.
Mm.
So it's about how we do it.
It's probably a blessing from the Most High.
Exactly. And I don't want to be the fool, be like, no, I don't want that nothing for the Most High. I'd rather drown. And then wake up, be like, dear Heavenly Father, why did you let me drown? I believed in you. He's gonna be like, I sent you a dude to give you a car. You didn't want it. I sent you a dude with the money. You didn't want it. What else do you want me to do? Oh gosh. Right? Don't be that idiot because we're looking. They want you to believe that. Give it all up for heavens in the sky. Now, how many chapters have we read? How many books have we read that denotes to this place in the sky? Like, where exactly is it? And I'll wait for you guys to tell me.
On my calculations, 0 times.
So where do they get this heaven in the sky thing? That's where you're gonna go. He made it up. And you can see from the Anakim, like, they like, look, man, we need to give him something. We crossed the line. These foolish mortals don't know any better. That's why our lifespan had to shut down. We got done with the knowledge. And moving on, moving right along. Get this right?
Number 4 is short.
Yeah, there's only 6 and 4, so. So 2 people will have 9, 1 person will have 8. Or, wait, no.
Yeah.
Why don't we do this? 2 people, so 2 people read the 13. 1 person will just read chapter 4. So Big, shoot, y'all break that down. Since y'all the beginning, and then that will be, chapter 4 will be my middle. If that makes sense. Beginning and in middle. I'll do the middle.
Huh?
I'm sorry. That was confusing too. Sorry, Big, to confuse you. So chapter 4 is, chapter 4 is so small that 1 person could read it by himself. So what will happen now is just 2 people read the 13 in chapter 3. And then the one person would just read chapter 4 by themselves. You with me?
Yeah.
So you and Pooh could just read the, like 13 and 13, and then I'll just spit off a 4. And then we can just tally them all together, or we can stop at 3 like we do, or whatever. It doesn't matter.
I'm down for it.
Uh, Alright. For look, the Master, Yahweh of hosts, is turning aside from Jerusalem and from Yehuda, the stock and the store, all the supply of bread and all the supply of water, the mighty man and the man of battle, the judge and the prophet, and the diviner, diviner and the elder, the commander of 50 and the highly respected man and the counselor and the skilled craftsman and the clever enchanter. And I shall make youths their heads, and children's shall rule over them. And the people shall exert pressure, man on his neighbor. The young rise up against the older, and the lightly esteemed against the highly esteemed. When a man takes hold of his brother in the house of his father by the garment and says, "Come, be a chief over us, and let this ruin be under your hand," he shall swear in that day, saying, "I am not a healer, for in my house is neither bread nor garment. Do not make me a chief of the people, for Jerusalem has stumbled, and Yehuda has fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against Yahweh, to provoke the eyes of his esteem. The look on their faces witnesses against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. They do not hide it. Woe to their being, for they have brought evil upon themselves. Say to the righteous, it is well, for they eat the fruit of their doings. Woe to the wrong, evil, for the reward on his hands is done to him. My people, youths, exert pressure on them, and women rule over them. O my people, your leaders lead you astray, and swallow the way of your paths. Yahweh shall stand up to plead, and is standing to judge the peoples.
Yahweh enters into judgment with his elders, with the elders of his people in his head. It is you who have eaten up the vineyard. The plunder of the poor is in your houses. What do you mean by crushing my people and grinding the faces of the poor? Declares the master, Yahweh of hosts. And Yahweh says, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with outstretched necks and seductive eyes, walking and mincing as they go, making a jingling with their feet. Therefore Yahweh shall smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and Yahweh expose their nakedness. In that day, Yahweh takes away the finery of the anklets and the headbands, and the crescents, the pendants, the bracelets and the veils, the headdresses and the leg ornaments, and the sashes, and the perfume bottles and the amulets, the rings and the nose jewels, the costly robes and the cloaks, and the shawls and the purses, the mirrors and the fine linen, and the turbans, and the large veils. And it shall be, instead of this sweet fragrance, a smell of decay, instead of a belt, a rope, instead of a well set hair, baldness, instead of a fussed robe, a girding of sackcloth, a branding instead of loveliness. Your men shall fall by the sword and strengthen your battle, and your strength in battle. And her gates shall lament and mourn. She, deserted, shall sit on the ground.
And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We shall eat our own food and wear our own clothes. Only let us be called by your name to take away our reproach. In that day, the branch of Yahweh shall be splendid and esteemed, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for the escaped ones of Israel. And it shall be that he who is left in Sion and he who remains in Jerusalem is called set apart. Everyone who's written amongst the living in Jerusalem, when Yahweh has washed away the filth of the daughters of Sion and rinsed away the blood of Jerusalem from her midst by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning, then Yahweh shall create above every dwelling place of Mount Sion and above her gatherings and a cloud and smoke by day. Sorry, a cloud and smoke by day, and the shining of a flaming fire by night. For over all the scene shall be covering, and a booth for shade in the daytime from the heat, and a place for refuge, and for shelter from the storm and the rain. Mm.
Sheesh.
Basically, the Most High basically saying, like, you know what? Oh, it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad. It's going to
Not
get
as
bad for
bad
all of
now. Again.
you. However, keep reminding, that's what you guys want to, but from the remnant, right? He's even, it's even, okay, this is for the remnant in chapter 4, first verse. And in that day, 7 women shall take a hold of one man, saying, we shall eat our own food and wear our own clothes. Only let us be called by your name to take away our reproach. Now, that's going to shut up all these talking mouths, all these talking heads, talking about I could do on my own. I know your name, your blood. This is an inheritance. There's a right, kingship. Ain't gonna be no woman talking about like, oh, you know what? I got me a job. I got me a car. All that's not gonna matter in that day of reproach. They're gonna want to hide to be under your name. It ain't gonna be like, call me Jada Pinkett Smith. No, call me Miss Smith. 'Cause I may have to answer for the Pinkett part. Because I let generations' curses blow me down and stuck with the vanity and stuck with the divination and stuck with the worshiping of men, idol worshiping. Why do I care about LeBron? He's an
I think it's
average
pretty cool too.
basketball player at best. Who is Travis Scott? Like, I like the music from time to time, but I can't even watch the videos. Once I watch the rappers' videos, I'm over them. Now all Luciferian to me. So who is Lil Wayne? Like, I don't care. Who is Jay-Z?
Yeah.
That's what they want you to worship and focus on. These has not changed. We are simple. But what has not changed, what the Most High has always left open for those that want to remain a remnant. Okay? It said in verse 2, in that day of chapter 4, in that day the branch of Yahweh shall be splendid and esteemed. The branch of Yahweh is not him, it's the branch like Yahshua, all that bloodline, that shall be esteemed, that branch. And the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for the escaped ones of Israel. And it shall be he who is left in Sion, and he who remains in Jerusalem is called set apart, everyone who's written amongst the living in Jerusalem. That's why, gentlemen, that's why I'm like, yo, at the end of the day, Say what you want. I'll help you get that property in the States. I don't care. We write that off. I need to go that way. Me personally. Like I'm learning how to be chill here, how to live amongst God's people here, and just move out, start communities. But at the end of the day, I need to be over there. It said, when Yahweh has washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and rinsed away the blood of Yerushalayim from her midst by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. Hmm. It's not gonna. I'm telling y'all, it's not gonna be room for. Not too many people gonna make it. It's just gonna be that simple. Not too many. Cause they're not gonna make because they're not gonna want to. It says, then Yahweh shall create above every dwelling place of Mount Sion, and above her gatherings, a cloud and smoke by day, and shining of a flame fire by night. For all, for over all the steam shall be covering, and for a booth of shade in the daytime, for heat, for a place of refuge, and for shelter for storm and the rain. Like, oh, it's you're gonna be covered here. Like, ain't no. Yeah, I wonder if heaven got a. No, it's not. No, it's not what we're talking about. We're just gonna continue to exist in this plane of existence, but for an eternity. If I'm reading it right, we were supposed to have that gift. It just wasn't ready. For Adam, say what he did. I mean, he outlived Eve. So, you know what I'm saying? I get that. Kudos for him. But at the end of the day, like, he was there. He was being built up to live for an eternity.
Mm.
But he will. Like, remember, Yahshua went to go get him. Yahshua cracked me, like, on when he broke that plane. Mind you, he has to go from three different dimensions, right? Like, or different dimensions, like from that creative realm, like I guess a programmer realm, right? And jumping into the whatever this plane of existence will be considered to them, the firmament, earth. But to us, it's just like the matrix, right? The simulation. Jump into the simulation, and then from jumping into the simulation, get killed in the game. Just to go where all the avatars that get killed in the game go. To retrieve all the avatars or all the people that was playing that was part of our family line. A family, a familiar line. We went to go get Adam. Crazy, like when you start reading the book of Bartholomew. And then when you start breaking it down, like, wait a minute. He was, wait a minute, Yahshua was doing this thing for like 40 days after he died. Like, they want to say, yeah, this and that, he did it in 3. Yeah, he rose up and got things, but he was still visible.
Mm.
So with no telling what that dimension, like, we're bounded by time, gentlemen. Like, I know I'd like to step into my time machine and blast tomorrow, but we're still bounded by time. We gotta be patient. Imagine beings that don't even have to worry about that. And they're probably watching us move slow or move as fast in the movie theater, like scrubbing through. Maybe they can go, we can just go linear, right? We can just go one way. Maybe they can go back, forth, back, up. And they can, just like how we watch a DVD. Or now how we don't even watch DVDs anymore. Look, what am I talking about? How we stream a movie. Like this is covering the basics, and I love it. But you got to get the basics. And once you start leveling up, you're gonna see why some people fall in love with darkness. Because you're gonna get challenged. Like it's just inevitable. It's just inevitable. You're gonna get challenged. You're gonna see how far you're gonna go. It's just now you're gonna get challenged on the prince level, where it's so detrimental each decision you make because you meant to lead guys. Y'all meant to
Looks on
rule.
the
Y'all meant to be
follow.
administrators.
Tremor.
At least for your family. At least for that. That's your kingdom. So this one worked out well. Everybody get 10 apiece. No one considered a leech. Capiche?
Sheesh.
Capiche?
Balls. Please let me sing to the one I love, a song for my loved one regarding his vineyard. My loved one has a vineyard on a fertile hill, and he dug it up and cleared it out of stones, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a watchtower in its midst, and also made a winepress in it. And he waited for the yielding of grapes, but it yielded rotten ones. And now, O inhabitant of Jerusalem and man of Yehuda, please judge me, please judge between me and my vineyard. What more could have been done to my vineyard that I have not done in it?
Mm,
Why, when I waited for the yielding of grapes, did it yield rotten ones?
mm,
And now, please let me inform you what I am doing to my vineyard, to take away its hedge, and it shall be burned, to break down its wall, and it shall be trampled down, and I lay its weights, and it is not pruned or dug, and thorn bushes and weeds shall come up, and I command the clouds not to rain on it. For the vineyard of Yahweh of hosts is the house of Israel, and the man of Yehuda is his pleasant plant. He looked for right ruling, but see oppression, for righteousness, but see weeping. Woe to those who join house to house, who add field to field, until there is no room. And you are made to dwell alone in the midst of the land. In my hearing, Yahweh of hosts said, truly, many houses shall be a waste, big and fine ones, without inhabitant. For 10 acres of vineyard yield one bath, and a homer of seed yields one ephah.
Woe to those who rise early in the morning, pursuing strong drink, who stay up late at night. Wine inflames them, and the lyre and the harp, and the tambourine and the flute, and the wine are in their feast, but they do not regard the deeds of Yahweh, nor seek the works of his hands. Therefore, my people have gone into exile, because they have no knowledge, and their esteemed men are starved, and their crowds dried up with thirst. Therefore, Sheol has made itself wide and opened up its mouth without law. Their splendor and their crowd and their uproar, and he who is exulting with her shall go down into it. And man is bowed down, and mortal man is humbled, and the eyes of the proud are humbled. But Yahweh of hosts is exalted in judgment, and the set apart El is set apart in righteousness. And the lambs shall feed in their pasture, and the sojourners shall eat in the waste place of the fat ones. Woe to those who drink crookedness with cords of falsehood, and sin as with wagon ropes, who are saying, let him hurry, let him hasten his work, so that we see it. And let the counsel of the set apart ones of Israel draw near and come so that we know. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, and put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter.
Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and clever in their own sight.
Hmm.
Woe to the mighty who drink wine, and brave men who mix strong drink, who declare right the wrong for a bribe, and the righteousness of the righteous they turn aside from him. Therefore, as a tongue of fire devours the stubble, and the flame consumes the chaff, their root is as rottenness, and their blossom goes up like dust, as they have rejected the Torah of Yahweh of hosts, and despised the word of the Sefer one, Israel. Therefore the displeasure of Yahweh has burned against his people, stretches out his hand against them, and strikes them. The mountains tremble, their is as
Carcass.
filth, carcass is as filth in the middle of the streets. All
Hmm.
this his displeasure has turned back, and his hand is not. His hand is still stretched out. Stretched out. And he shall lift up a banner to the nations from afar, and shall whistle to them from the end of this earth, and see, they come with speed, swiftly. None of them is weary or stumbling. Not one slumbers or sleeps. Not a belt shall be loosened on their loins, nor the thong of their sandals be broken. Their arrows are sharp, and their bows bent. Their horses' hooves shall seem like flint, and their wheels are like a whirlwind. Their roar is that of a lion. They roar like young lions. And they grow and seize prey and slip away with no one to rescue. And in that day they shall growl over it as with the growling of the sea. And one shall look at the earth and see darkness and distress. And light shall be darkened by the clouds.
Good.
I'm soaking that in right now.
Shoot.
So soaking it in as well.
Yeah, I think this part right here, and I feel like this poetry, like this is how much the Most High love his chosen people, right? He described it as a vineyard on a fertile hill, but a yielding of grapes were rotten ones. Then he jumps down. You jump down into chapter 5 at Yerushalayim in verse 4. It says, "What more could I have? What more could have been done to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Like, it's me and y'all. I got, it's me. I created the entirety of the universe. When you talk about Big Bang, guess who banged it? Right? Set things in motion. The celestial. And I give you this power. I give you this ability to choose, and this is where you go with it. And now it's like, woe to these people, like, whoa, like shame, like, whoa, right? Like, another part that got me. After he said, "You're gone into exile, and their seamen are starved," in the 13th verse, and that crowd dried up with thirst. And then jumping into the 14th, right? Talks about like how Sheol can be imagined to us to understand. It could be like a place where these souls rest, these these energies go, the avatars, the dead avatars in the game go, like restful, and it says, and it alludes to that, like a place where they hold out, or dimension where they're held. And it says, therefore Sheol has made itself wide and opened its mouth without law. Their splendor and their crowd and their uproar, and he who exult within her shall go down into it. But then it talks about like, it flips in the 16th verse, it's like, but Yahweh of hosts is exalted in judgment, and the set apart El is set apart in righteousness. And the lamb shall feed in their pasture, and sojourners shall eat in the waste place of the fat ones. Then he goes back to the woe. One thing that got me was, remember, we call evil good and good evil, darkness for light. Like they're killing. That struck out to me. That's the part I should need to highlight, because they're making that the thing when you're deciding. Okay, so watch this. Is the cop wrong for busting this man that broke the law? Right? You're like, they're both wrong. But no, you got to pick a side. Right? Okay, this guy obviously he crossed the law. Got it. But does he deserve this kind of? Does he deserve to die for breaking? Like, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm like, why am I judging by? Like, let's not break the law at all. If we can't, we can help it. If they're making a law for us to be, I seen them. I read they did this in Jasper. They did this in Israel, where they made people in, not Israel, in Mizraim, where they made people work, forced them to work under compulsory labor. They can do it again. They can say something's coming and blah blah blah. We need to work together and put our resources in, and it'll start off great, but then slowly you'll see whoever they want you to be your supervisors or lord over you will start taking positions, and this will be something for generations. And my point is, the remnant will know when that comes and get out. Another part I wanted you to when it says, is in the 25th verse, it says, therefore the displeasure of Yahweh has burnt against his people, and he stretched out his hands against them, and strike them, and the mountains tremble, and their carcass are filled in the middle of the streets, with his hand displeasured and not turned back, and his hand is still stretched out. It's to me like a double entendre, because that hand that's stretching out just can destroy whatever, but it also can reach back for its people, those that are still there. Remember, he was like, if there's 50, would you not burn it? I would not burn it for the sake of 50.
Yeah, I remember that.
Somebody's there, I'm gonna come get him. I'm not gonna forget my remnant. Lot, come on, boy. He sent beings to go get Lot. So he has kept his word. He's a perfect being. Closest thing to him that we can understand is Yahshua. So that's why the more we act in his ways or walk in his ways, I can't say act because I don't want to act like nothing. I want to be that. Sorry, excuse me. The more we walk in his ways, the closer we'll be to perfection, right? The closer we'll be in our walk towards inheriting land when he comes and rearrange this whole thing. Because I don't know if you guys can feel it, but you can tell that there's no way this can sustain itself. That whole system, it can't sustain. And I'm not just talking about the U.S. It's not the U.S. only. But this whole world system, world government cannot sustain itself. Yahshua will be first to come back, as it says. But yeah, the Most High will be able to plant his feet, and I want to be there. So to sing, to be there, to me, it's going to be like a rock stage, a never-ending rock show. We're all going to be singing the praises of his name and where he got us for an eternity. Or, I mean, like, it could be too much for some people to bear. So, delete yourself. So, I didn't mean to be so bad. Ready to shoot people in the head. Gentlemen, so conclude. I mean, please add if you want. Because it's a beautiful thing. Like, when you can see, like when you can see revelation as a great thing, you're there. So it's like I never got mad when I had to throw out the trash. Like, oh man, we're throwing out the trash, man, no. Never got upset. Never got upset when we had to clean. I never got upset. Ah man, I want to keep the filth here. Ah, you never had to beat me to take a shower. Like, I just want to be filthy and dirty. I just want things to just inhabit my body. Come on. Don't always catch me washing my hands before I put food in my like. So there's things that we already do to understand that we can't be around the filth anyway. Like, y'all know me. I love chocolate, but it breaks me out. But there was a time like, come on, man. Let me get my chocolate. I used to eat Snickers. Like the worst of it. What is a caramel nougat? Someone please tell me. What is a caramel nougat? Right? Like I used to eat that. You wonder like, why is my face breaking out? You're putting impurities in your body. We're gonna be in it. What they want, we're gonna be. They want the metaverse version of it, and they lead with it. They're just get. It's crazy. It's like Shaitan, the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful, eloquent, first of the angels to sing, because all of us are gonna sing. So he's one of the high end, one of the first, and he saw corruption. He sought after it. But the one of beauty, he's still singing, right? Even though he's still so after corruption, he's still gonna be singing the praises of the Most High because he's gonna try to outdo it. He's gonna try to make it before you see it from him. So those of us that get it, gonna be like, that was staged. But hey, the Most High would have. When the Most High does, it's gonna be much better. But he's trying. He's giving you new world order. He's trying to figure that out amongst his high ministers in places, in high places, principalities in high places. He's trying to figure it out. And then trying to figure it out, he's getting confounded. So, yeah, they're trying to build this government like the Most High's government. It's not gonna work. There's only one. And once you understand it like that, the kingdom, the government, still the same thing. Yahshua's still gonna be the king. He's still the land. He earned it. Like once you start understanding what's like, it's crazy because I know a guy that wanted to make a movie about young Yahshua. I mean, young Jesus, he wanted to call it. Like if I was to write that movie, I would really focus about the spiritual aspect, like him being the lamb in the garden of Adam and Eve. You know what I'm saying? Like I would grow it from there. I wouldn't start as his humanly existence. Right? I would start from, okay, he was that word. He was there to watch over. He was the comforter. He made them comfortable. He just appeared as a lamb in that form. Especially when they had to sacrifice him to make the clothing for Adam and Eve. And he keeps coming back in the form of that lamb. So that's that's the king is willing to kill himself for us. Like, and that's the stuff like, okay, God, he did it already. All right, so yes, the Most High sent them. That was his part, his sacrifice. He stood on the chopping block. That was his person. That was Yahshua's sacrifice, right? To remind us, like, look, everything we said we're going to do, we're going to do it. And we're not doing it just to impress upon you. We're building this kingdom here. It's going to be on this earth as it was up there in that dimension. And we got rid of our waste. All of them. Santanayu and his crew, Satan and his crew, the Fallen and their crew, right? Because remember, There were two different crews. There was two different hits. One went after control of the government. The other one just was like, yo, we just gonna be whoremongers. We just want the coochie. And y'all gonna see a lot of those thirsty guys in your life because they exist. They're all deep. The reason I laugh because they're here. They're all here, right? A majority of them from all different countries. It's crazy. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. And the good part is, we as a remnant, it's gonna rain on all of us, but they're gonna give it. The Most High will give us shade and shelter in the rain. That's why he's our rampart. He's our rock. He's our stronghold. He's our fortress.
Stronghold captured.
There you, he's that.